You are spending $150 a year on laundry detergent, maybe 200, and you will spend that much again next year and the year after that. But in Holmes County, Ohio, there are families who have not bought a single bottle of laundry detergent in decades. Their clothes come out cleaner than yours, their whites stay whiter than yours, and they made their entire year's supply in one afternoon for less than $12. That is not a guess. That is what I watched with my own eyes the first time a woman named Ruth Schlabach let me stand in her wash house in Millersburg and see exactly how it was done. I drove out there skeptical. I drove home with a 5-gallon bucket in my truck and a lot of uncomfortable questions about why I had never known this. Here's what I can promise you by the end of this. You are going to have the exact recipe, 3 ingredients, nothing complicated, nothing you need to order online. You are going to understand why this works, where it comes from, and why the company that now owns Procter & Gamble's old formula spent $21 million in advertising in 1946 to make sure your grandmother forgot what her grandmother knew. And at the very end, I'm going to show you one finishing step, a technique recorded in a domestic guide published in 1883 that the Amish still use today to keep whites looking brand new without bleach, without optical brighteners, without any of the synthetic chemistry that is doing things to your clothing you probably do not want to know about. This works whether you live in a brand new house or one that was built in 1962. You do not need new appliances. You do not need to change a thing about the way you already do laundry. So let me start at the beginning. Before 1946, most American families made their own soap or bought simple bar soap from a local store. They used that soap to wash their clothes, their dishes, and themselves. It was not complicated. It was not expensive. And it worked. Then Procter & Gamble launched Tide. They called it a wash day miracle. They backed it with a $21 million advertising campaign, one of the largest in American history at that point. And within 2 years, Tide had captured more than 30% of the American laundry market. Within a generation, the knowledge of how to make your own laundry soap had been almost completely wiped out of mainstream American households. Almost completely. The Amish did not watch television. They did not listen to radio advertising. They did not receive the mailers. And so they kept doing what their grandmothers had taught them. They kept making soap the same way families had made it for 200 years. And here is the thing that should bother you, the thing that bothered me when I finally sat down and thought about it. The Amish were not using an inferior product. They were using a better one, simpler, cheaper, made from ingredients with names you can actually pronounce. And Procter & Gamble knew it. The internal debate inside P&G before Tide launched was not whether synthetic detergent worked better. It was whether a synthetic product would cannibalize their existing soap sales. Chairman William Cooper Procter, the last family member to run that company, made the call. His exact words, recorded in the company's own internal history, "This may ruin the soap business. But if anybody is going to ruin the soap business, it had better be Procter & Gamble." He was not talking about your convenience. He was talking about market share. Now let me show you what the Amish kept. The recipe has 3 ingredients. 1 bar of Fell's Naphtha soap, which you can find in the laundry aisle of most grocery stores or at Walmart for under $2. 1 cup of Arm & Hammer washing soda, not baking soda, washing soda. They are not the same thing. And half a cup of 20 Mule Team Borax. That is the entire recipe. 3 items. Total cost at current prices, around $3 for a batch that will last a family of 4 through 6 months of laundry. You double the batch, you have a full year. Fell's Naphtha is the ingredient most people have never thought about. That bar of soap has been sitting in the laundry aisle since 1893. It was invented in Philadelphia by a man named Samuel Simeon Fells, and it was specifically designed to cut through the kind of heavy grease and farm soil that regular soap could not handle. The Amish kept using it because it works. The naphtha solvent in the original formula is gone now, removed years ago, but the soap base remains one of the most effective natural cleaning agents available at any price point. Washing soda is sodium carbonate. It is more alkaline than baking soda, which means it cuts grease and lifts stains in ways that baking soda simply cannot. It softens hard water. It raises the pH of your wash water to a level where soil and oils release from fabric rather than bond to it. The Amish have known this since before there was a name for it. They just called it the soda. Borax is sodium tetraborate. It has been mined in the California desert and sold to American households since 1891. It is a natural mineral compound that boosts the cleaning power of soap, helps control odor, and keeps mold and bacteria from growing in your laundry water. The box has barely changed in 130 years because the product has not needed to change. It works. To make the powder version, which is what most Amish households use, you simply grate 1 full bar of Fels naphtha on a cheese grater, mix in 1 cup of washing soda and half a cup of borax. Stir it well. Store it in a sealed container. You use 1 tablespoon per regular load, 2 tablespoons for heavy soil or large loads. That is it. One batch covers around 400 loads. At that rate, $12 in ingredients gives a family of 4 a full year's worth of laundry detergent with soap to spare. Now, if you already own a house and you are thinking this only applies to people building from scratch, stay with me, because this next part is specifically for you. If you have been using commercial laundry detergent in your washing machine for years, there is something happening inside your machine right now that you cannot see. Commercial detergents are formulated with surfactants, fillers, synthetic fragrances, and in many cases, optical brighteners, which are essentially fluorescent dyes that bond to fabric and emit blue light to make colors appear brighter. Those compounds do not fully rinse out. They accumulate in the drum, in the seals, in the pump. The smell people call musty laundry is almost never the clothing. It is the machine. The residue has built up in the parts that never fully dry, and it is growing things you do not want on your clean clothes. Here is what you do before you make your first batch of Amish detergent. Run your washing machine empty on the hottest, longest cycle available with nothing but half a cup of borax and half a cup of washing soda in the drum. Do that twice. What you are doing is exactly what the Amish do when they take over an old wringer washer. They strip the machine before they trust it. Those 2 ingredients together create an alkaline wash that dissolves the biofilm and detergent residue that no commercial washing machine cleaner actually reaches. It costs about 75 cents. And it means that when you switch to the homemade recipe, your machine is actually clean for the first time, and your clothes will start coming out of the washer smelling the way laundry is supposed to smell. Like nothing. Clean has no smell. Fragrance is a product you are paying for. After you run those 2 cleaning cycles, your machine is ready. Load it the way you always do. Put your tablespoon of powdered detergent directly in the drum with the clothes not in the detergent tray. This is how the Amish use it, and it makes a measurable difference in how well it distributes through the load. You can wash in cold water, you can wash in hot. The recipe works in both. It works in standard top loaders and in high-efficiency front loaders. Front loader users should dissolve the tablespoon in a cup of hot water first and add the liquid directly to the drum before loading the clothes. The low suds nature of this recipe actually makes it better suited to HE machines than most commercial detergents, which produce more foam than those machines are designed to handle. But there is one thing the recipe alone does not fully solve, and this is where the story gets interesting. If you have ever washed white shirts or white linens and watched them slowly yellow over months, even with bleach, even with hot water, you already know the problem. Commercial detergents address this with synthetic optical brighteners. They paint your fabric with fluorescent chemistry. The whites look bright under store lighting or sunlight because the dye is absorbing ultraviolet light and emitting it back as visible blue. That is not clean. That is a coating. And those coatings break down unevenly, which is why older white shirts often develop that patchy gray look that makes them look permanently dingy no matter what you do. The Amish solution to this problem is older than the United States. It is called bluing. And when Ruth Schlabach showed me the small brown bottle she keeps on a shelf above her washtub, I genuinely did not know what I was looking at. I had never seen it before. She looked at me the way you would look at someone who had never seen a butter churn and said, "Your grandmother used this." She was right. Mrs. Stewart's concentrated liquid bluing has been sold in American stores continuously since 1883. It is a tiny bottle of Prussian blue pigment suspended in water. You add 4 drops, not a capful, 4 drops to the rinse water of a white load. The blue pigment deposits on the fabric in a concentration so faint it is invisible to the naked eye. But that trace of blue cancels out the yellow tones that fabric develops through washing and age, because blue and yellow are complementary colors. The result is that white appears more white. Not because anything has been added that shines, because the yellow has been neutralized. It is the same principle behind toning silver hair with purple shampoo. The colorimetry has not changed in 140 years. This technique was documented in detail in domestic guides published in the 1880s. It was standard practice in American homes from roughly the Civil War through the 1950s. When synthetic optical brighteners arrived in commercial detergents, starting in the 1950s and 1960s, bluing disappeared from most households almost overnight. Not because it stopped working, because nobody was selling it on television, but the Amish kept using it. And their white aprons and white shirt collars, washed in cold well water with homemade soap and finished with 4 drops of a 143-year-old product, are the brightest whites you have ever seen come off a clothesline. You can find Mrs. Stewart's bluing online or at farm supply stores. A bottle costs around $5 and contains enough product for several years of weekly laundry. The directions are on the label, and they are simple. You add the 4 drops to the final rinse water, not the wash cycle. You do not add it to colored loads. And you never add it directly to the drum without diluting it first. Always dilute it in a quart of cold water before adding to the rinse. So here is what you actually have now. A year's worth of laundry detergent for $12. A clean washing machine. Clothes that smell like nothing because they are actually clean. And whites that look the way your grandmother's whites looked when she still knew this trick. Here is the number that I want you to sit with. The average American household spends between $150 and $200 a year on commercial laundry detergent. Over 20 years, that is $4,000. The Amish families I visited in Holmes County and Lancaster County have spent a fraction of that on ingredients that have not changed since before their great-grandparents were born. That money did not go to a cleaner outcome. It went to a $21 million advertising campaign launched in 1946 and every campaign that followed it. You did not choose to forget this. It was taken from you, quietly, through decades of marketing that replaced a working solution with a more expensive one. The knowledge did not disappear. It survived in communities that never watched the commercials. Now you have it back. If you are the kind of person who believes that real, working knowledge has been quietly pushed aside to protect someone else's profit margin, you already know what to do with this. I want to ask you one specific question, and I want you to leave your answer in the comments below. The bluing technique, the 4 drops in the rinse water, did you know about that? Had you ever heard of it before this video? Because I had not. And I want to know how many people watching this are learning it for the first time the same way I did. Leave your answer right down there. Tell me yes or no. Your answer actually matters to me. And if this is the kind of knowledge you want, more of the kind that has been sitting quietly on a shelf in a farmhouse in Ohio while the rest of us paid for something worse, hit that subscribe button. Not to help this channel, to get the next one. Because what I am going to show you next week is what the Amish do with wood, ash, and rainwater that has not appeared in a single mainstream guide, and it costs exactly nothing.